Hello everyone, we will be starting shortly, just waiting for a small thing to happen, and then I will show you what we are working with today. Sorry about the wait. Took a little longer than I anticipated for it to load. So our focus for today is going to be attempting to get some more unlocks done. Better solar panels are always nice. Precision engineering, however, their analyzer, that's great. Oh, communications antenna, that is useful. The better probe, EVA fuel. Let's see, the thing we're looking for. There's so many things that would help us out. Okay, so those rotors are how you build stuff like helicopters and the like. Which reminds me, I did unlock the ability to make helicopters. Hinges are cool. Ground anchor, okay. More fuel. You have things to do. This will be our next unlock, just so that we are progressing along the tree. Unmanned. Rain. Ooh, scan. There we go. One of the things I'm looking for is the different scan modes. Only reason, specifically, is because that's how you find some other specific resource. The other thing I want to see is if they have mining. The reason I say that. Oh, there you go. There we go. There is a drill. Okay, so special drills used for special things. Basically, going up to scanning tech is going to be our friend. So, let's take a peek at some of the missions we have. Explore Kerbin. Arc 2 vehicles. If I'm not mistaken. Did I unlock struts? I did. Means I can come to our MISC. Seeing as this whole thing is very, very, well, very worrisome, to say the least. We're gonna go here, up to here. Gonna go here to here. And hopefully by doing that, this will hold up better. Now, what I might do is build a giant thruster engine, but right now, okay. So I need to stabilize them at the bottom. Specifically because that's where they are the most free-flowing. Also want to do that. Not perfect, but it should help a little bit. Save it. And we are ready to launch. Or at least we think we are. Whether we really are, we'll find out. So this should be a cheeky way of handling this particular mission. Okay, oops. And so far, so good. So far, we are coming up. We do want to slow ourselves down a little bit. We want to stay under 300. Once I hit 10, I'm gonna tilt. And I'm gonna try. Oop, I tilted too hard. And it's gonna revert. The one thing that always bothers me is sometimes even a tiny little tilt is enough to prevent you from achieving what you want. I really should put parachute on those. It'd keep them from blowing up my whole base every time they drop. Oh. I got very lucky. That should have cost me everything. Okay. I guess with this particular rocket, we will not be doing any tilt burns until we are further out of the atmosphere. Okay. This time we're gonna wait for the thrusters to run out. Instead of launching them up at ourselves. Let them drop away. Or bring our throttle down. It is wobbling, but it's within anticipated parameters. Kind of funny because I'm throttling back to keep my speed lower, but as I throttle back, I actually get more burn time out of this. Okay. I forgot I was doing a nighttime launch. Normally I avoid doing them, but I guess today I'm going to be making a small exception. We're now above 25. Let's ditch the tires, light the fires. Gonna go to space. We're gonna do it with style. Ooh, come on. He's being very finicky. He is fighting all of my controls. Hopefully, I can get this stabilized a little bit better than it currently is. Right now, we are not on a good course. Hey, Maverick, how you doing? As you can see, we are behaving a little foolishly. We're trying to get that mission that eluded us last time. However, once I get this in a circularized orbit, I will have to take like a 1-minute break to go grab my food. It was just delivered, and I should be back right away. Oh, by the way, I don't know if it'll let me do it. If you set come on, let me set Kerbin as your target. It'll actually tell you what you need to do in order to have a perfect circularized orbit. Okay. And now I have a near infinite amount of fuel. Let me but yeah, like this is quote unquote the I believe right now it's focused on my ComSat. Great. I know I can set the moon as the target, and that also is a easy thing to line yourself up with. I think for right now, I think the idea I'm going to have to go with is just hit a maneuver here, circularized. I can never remember which way is which, but it's not really a big deal. Bye. This fire. Honestly, most of this is technically me wasting, because I don't need any of this. But as I do that, I come over here, I undock this here, turn on the RCA. I cannot. Docking mode, I think, is the one I want. So docking mode's not really how you should do this, but that as the target. Ta-da! Did it really not let me cheese it? Yeah, I think it... Yeah. Oh. I know why. Because I was being a smart aleck. Technically, I'm not in orbit of Kerbin. Alright. Give me a moment. I'll be right back. Let me grab my food. That's what I get for trying to be a show-off. Gonna have to launch it again. Sorry about the wait. Okay, so if we revert... Actually, let me do this, the smart thing, because I just realized with how much I don't like waste. If I go back to the assembly, I can actually reduce the waste I generate here. Because right now I'm generating a lot of waste. If I do that, I can actually control this and send it careening back. I have not gotten to Mimbus yet. I've been trying to make sure any advancements I do on the stream so that anyone can see what I do, how I do it, and all the amount of times I have to reset. Because it doesn't matter how good you think you are, you always forget something simple, like your staging. Okay, so that guy's first. That guy. That stays. Goes. And that goes. Now, in theory, this should work. I do believe I can get to Mimbus. Which might be one of the things I do today, because my main objective is to try to unlock more science and get some of the cooler stuff. Right? I guess you could say that, kind of, sort of. I used to play way back when it first came out, so maybe. Now, the funny thing is, the reason I use those parachutes is so that they don't fall down onto a building and blow them up. Because I've done that before, where I got mostly through a flight and hear ba-boom, and I'm like, what's that? Oop, need to throttle back. There is actually a mod that gets you paid if you put parachutes on anything that enters reorbit. And so long as it would theoretically work, it'll give you whatever was on that back. So you could drop boosters and get paid back for them. I don't know if you could get science, like drop science pods, but I do believe that may have been a thing you could do. Really fun mod. Basically, it helped you fund all your stuff just by being efficient and doing things the way a real space agency might do it. Okay, let's burn hot and go high. We're well over our turn. Let's try to do it carefully, because it does get out of control. Yeah, this ship really likes getting out of control. Part of it's because of the way the fins are. Oh yeah, it's also, it's nice because it adds a challenge that you don't need. Like, you're not required, just because you have the mod installed doesn't mean you have to use it. But, you know, if you can, and you can get a little more money out of everything, why not? Space. The time stop myself into the right direction. Boop. Let's start circularizing. Sorry about that. I just realized I had my mic muted. I was sitting there talking. I'm like, But yeah. In theory, we're now in orbit. I don't know if... Actually. Wait a sec. There is one other thing I can do to make sure this works, because it says 2 different vehicles. If I go, and this might be just like, you know, whip topping on top of the cheese. If I come here, this are you gonna let me rename it? Oh. Alright. Let's see if renaming it and then switching to it will let me get away with this. Docking. Keep forgetting that so relay, the way it's described versus a probe has like scanning equipment, stuff like that, whereas a relay just relays information. Ah, okay. I'm gonna have to launch 2 separate vessels. Well, wah wah. Get a maneuver. Deorbit this, and we're gonna do it. RCS. Sorry, RCS. Is at the end of the day. If I can't... Oh, right. Forgot. Have to go docking mode for that to work. Off so I can fix that. RCS. And zoom out so I don't have to listen to the tanks empty in a very, very slow manner. The only thing I don't like is I can't be in docking mode and maneuver mode. Or, yeah, maneuver node. So I won't know if I pull this off until I've run out of monopropellant, at which point it might just be flinging these things out of orbit. That does it. Am I even making a difference? Actually, yes, I've made enough of a difference that I don't have to worry about that no more. So if we're going to do this, we'll do this in a level of style. at this point, I have no weight limit, only a part limit. How do I want to go about it? I need to have little antenna buddies. Sitting there. Gonna toss a little bit of power there. Realistically, this whole thing should not take that much power. But dependent on how I do it, gonna change a whole lot about it. Convert you over. Just because this is not designed to quote-unquote safely return. I'm not gonna worry about adding parachutes to it. Ooh, turbofan engine. I can make a new jet aircraft. Okay. Biggest issue I have is that's tiny. Gonna need, I guess, that to let me do a little trick with it. Okay. Not a lot I can do about it, but I can. Make it a stabilized thing. And that way I can get this up, and then launch another one to go meet it. And now we're gonna play some big stuff, because when you don't have limits, you get to go a little bit crazy. This is way more than I need to get to orbit, but, like, yeah. But it's funny, so. Kind of where I'm at with it. We're gonna make one of you. Take and fuel you up. You look nice. was debating on doing something silly, which I've done before, which was build a jet turbine rocket housing on the outside. Which, at least for a little bit, does work. However, it goes wrong almost immediately every single time. Like, I don't think I've ever gotten it to work. But it's funny as heck watching it just freak out while screaming to get up there. And then all of a sudden you end up with, oh, a service module. Didn't even notice. But, all of a sudden you get up there and you just hear all your engines cut out. And the worst part is, they never cut out at the same time. They always cut out, like, in different stages for some reason, and you immediately lose control. Like, it is really funny. Oop. Need to dial that back in. So I can stabilize this whole thing, because this is going to go bad very fast if I mess this up. If, oh yeah, like that. Basically, it is the thing too. As you can see, my staging has decided I am not worthy and will have to manually fix everything. And that's not even getting into the cross-feeding. Go up there. Boom. Now we are going to look at cross-feeding the fuel, so I know who's going where and when. Oh yeah. It's also, like, the most important part. And it is the part that is 130% going to get you killed. I enjoy that of the 3 options I have, the first stage is not actually one of them. Up by this point, whole thing should be ready to pop off. This is so over-engineered. Oh! What happened? Oh no. That has me worried. Since a single stage to orbit, I have to assume that something wasn't cross-fed right and you ran out of fuel. Or did you forget to bring the carbons? Oh, I forgot to put SAS on this. Yeah, that's not... I'm not bothering trying to launch that without SAS. That would make my life a nightmare. There we go. Oh no! Oh. Excuse me. Oh. Can you guess why I don't have SAS? Well, at least you know you've got it down right. This is a reaction wheel. This gives control. Can't believe I just fixed a problem by not fixing the problem. Okay. Let's see how poorly this goes. We actually have negative thrust to weight. I don't think I'm taking off. That is funny. Probably something I should have checked before. You know, I rolled it all the way out to the pad. Okay, buddy. That's the game you want to play. We'll play it. Although it helps if you put the solid booster on facing the right direction. Yeah, 1.3 is generally where you know you're gonna be in the good. You can get away with less as long as you're above 1. The problem is you are going to have a bit of a nightmare when you do it. So 1.3 is a good indicator. As much as I could reduce fuel, I could also toss massive solid rocket motors that I have not used yet on. Because I can toss them in here. Go. Why they keep flipping, I don't know. Because I didn't bother to check to see if the rockets I had enough thrust. Otherwise, I would have just tossed them on, like you said, first and foremost, called it a day. Because now, I've almost got 2 for my thrust, which is a lot more than I need. But now I can go like that. And this is just a holdover from having that one mod installed. It just always feels, oh, cool, I've got fairings. Not that it's needed for what I'm doing. Yeah, by this point, with me having that much thrust, by that point, I absolutely should be fine. Especially because, as you see, it steps down each time. However, as it steps down, I'm going to be higher up in the atmosphere, so logically speaking, whether it's actually going to work or not, I don't know. But logically speaking, I should be high enough up. Okay, guess I gotta use a giant thing. Because this doesn't look, you know, terribly, terribly designed. You know, like maybe something Dr. Evil came up with. If I took the time, because I realized something else I should have checked, but it would require actually sitting down with a calculator, is see how long these burn for. Because I get the feeling they may burn longer than the stage. And I might have to hold on to the stage for just a second longer. Yeah. You spin me right round. By the way, I have no control over that. It's just spinning on its own. Okay. I'm gonna hold off on my actual normal fuel because right now I am moving way too fast. Okay. So, turns out they are so powerful, I don't need to run the liquid fuel at all. Lock that. Well, that's one way to conserve fuel. I'm definitely gonna have to put fins on that to stabilize it. That is just way too much. Like, it's gonna fall over under its own power if it keeps doing that. Bring it to assembly, and let's toss some fins on that. They're like the rinkiest fins. But if I throw something massive on here, I get the feeling I'm going to pay for it. Save launch. Hopefully that helps reduce the spin. Either that or it's going to overcompensate and this whole thing's going to spin out. But yeah, it reminds me of a lot of old sci-fi movies. Wee bit wiggly. Okay. Guess we have to over-engineer the over-engineering. There. Go to the very end of it. Hate it. It. Nope. Alt it. And now. That's probably going to be a safer place to drop that for now. Oh yeah, no, that nav ball really doesn't like me doing this. It's almost like I'm trying to make it do a lot more calculations than it wants to do in atmosphere. Not to mention what I should be doing is putting struts between these. Which, instead of wasting an entire thing to find out that, yeah, I should do that, let me just do that. There we go. Worst part is, it's not even like I'm putting this in deep space. I'm actually gonna have this only barely skim out of the atmosphere. That way I can leave the lower stage behind to get eaten up. Right? Like, this is so hyper-engineered for a tiny little thing to sit in orbit for me to dock another tiny little thing to it. Like, this thing has so much more power than it needs. And I'm still overspeed by a margin that is greater than 0. But at least now I can correct. At least I can correct until I jettison this. Ooh. Just for now. I'm gonna... Come on. Give me that little bit of fine control because we are moving way too fast. Granted, we are now outside atmospheric influence, or at least on the path to it. So now we can go crazy. I'm probably gonna be dumping a lot of fuel back into the atmosphere with this one. Like, I'm in space, or at least I'm set to be in space, and I just now dropped my first fuel tank. I am pretty sure I could get to ELO with this rocket. Or at least I could make one heck of a try for it. Especially because, technically speaking, the big rocket hasn't even used any fuel yet. If I wanted to be a smart aleck, I could have put a super efficient rocket motor on there that's tiny, and this thing would have been like choo-choo, tiny little train going through the known universe. I do find it funny, though, that our periapse is taking as long as it can to get here. Granted, that's my own fault for launching straight up. I just did not trust those boosters not to blow me up in the attempt. Right? So I just had a really funny idea. So you remember how I made the little, like, communications probes that sit on the ground? So I could use those big boosters to build intercontinental ballistic probe satellites. And basically just use them to fling those little satellites one at a time out over here, just on top of a massive rocket. Here? And, like, to give you an understanding, this is how much fuel I'm wasting. I'm literally, this entire thing is not needed for what I'm currently doing. Okay. If we're gonna rotate, just gonna let it rotate. We want to bring our periapse down. Warp there. This has so little fine control up here because how massive it is in comparison to, like, the actual control system. There we go. A little bit of control back here. There. Right. Oh, bugger. So, can you tell me what I forgot to put on this? Give you a minute. Remember, its main operation is to dock with another thing. You're probably going to start laughing when you realize what's missing. Let me know if you need a hint. Okay, I'll give you your first hint. The thing that is missing is not absolutely required. However, would make the entire operation so exponentially easier. It would be like attempting to get to space with only these motors compared to using that gigantic rocket I just wasted back there. Although I do not have to revert, thankfully. I don't even know why that started rolling like that, but okay. Alright. You're missing the RCS. So basically, that's not going to want to behave when I try to dock with it. However, theoretically speaking, as long as I remember to put RCS on the second one I put up there, I'll be able to use the RCS on the second rocket. Oh, I can't believe I forgot that. I was so focused on the fact that the big boosters weren't working that I didn't realize that it wasn't going anywhere. Oh yeah. Okay. Not perfect, but it'll do for what I'm working with. Now, I just need to make sure I add the fuel. Okay. Could be more than enough. Watch this whole thing go screaming into oblivion. Not enough funds. I literally cannot afford to do it because I'm messing around with these gigantic boosters. Okay, time to do the fuel efficient thing that you recommended, which was reduce, the amount of fuel in a stage. Now, thankfully, I can do that relatively easily. Now, the problem is, I am almost positive that doing this way is going to drain the secondary tanks almost immediately. And I should honestly be using a different nozzle on that main thrust vector, but it's fine. I've already proven I don't need any of this fuel. Oh yeah, this much simpler rocket should behave quite a bit better. Although, that almost looked like it was a missile heading straight for my vehicle assembly, which would have been bad. I do find it interesting that it doesn't just refill these because I emptied them and just refill them from the side bits. It does make life a little easier doing it that way. In theory, I could do my tilt nice and gently. Yes, to a nice, comfortable 90. And theoretically, this should get us spaceborne. Okay. Bring her down level now that I know I'm in space. I always try and do this right. Especially given that now I have to actually hit a target out there. It'd probably be for the best that I do it right. And not just throw things at the wall till it works. At least my thrust, the weight's gonna skyrocket. Like, it's not better than what it is now, but it's gonna keep at a nice heavy pace. Up there. Burn just that little bit more. Apoaps. Just because it's worth a little bit more when you do it that way. Cross limitations. Yeah, of course. Nothing could possibly go wrong. Oh, this is gonna be very rough. Full filters. Funny because the docking debris still hasn't fallen out because it doesn't quite know it's been deorbited. Sorry. Quite yet. Node. B. Very careful with how we handle our fuel. Okay, there's that. Now we want to change our periaps. work on operation 7. Don't have, well, we have a lot of delta V. How to use it right. I believe the periaps is matching. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to give myself the distance so that I could do a couple orbits to fix the issue. Yeah, orbit 1, it's 11, then it comes down to 8. Not. You know what? I haven't spent that much time in game. That's going to be a too big of a problem. So let me warp to my next. Oh. Next one. Once I cross that dot, undo. See? Brought down too early. That's what I was thinking. What I'm trying to do, and the main reason I'm doing the stuff I'm doing right now, is actually I'm trying to unlock a scanning node, or that's the easiest way to describe it. I'm trying to unlock a probe body that lets me scan the actual planet. Wrong way, gotta go. Actually, there is a surface scanning module, but there's also a behaving. Able to see um oh, I'm dumb. That is my target. I just can't see it. Okay, so this is a really bad idea for what I'm doing. Thrust down before I put green off. Want our intersect to be better than it is, but the problem is right now we are intersecting at way too high of a velocity. Also burning a very large amount of fuel, which isn't really an issue because if I can get docked, let's get out ahead of the target. Still do not have visual confirmation on the target. I'm definitely doing this way worse. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I might have to, because I think the game did a save of its own. I don't think I did my own quick save. Apparently that was my last quick save. Yeah, let's go to that. Which, it drives me insane that it saves, but it doesn't save. Impressive that I basically did nothing. Uh, how much progress did this push me back? That tracking station. And this is why you make sure that you... Yeah, it blew up everything. because even though the game is saying it's saving, it's not really saving. Gotta load. Yeah, it literally did that to me, where it said before launch, hey, quick saving now, but it wasn't actually quick saving. Don't know why. Well, I have a whole bunch more money. I've got about 30 minutes. Let's look at going to Mimus. Just for the sake of giggles. Do a hybrid probe. Basically, I hate when it does that to me, because like, I thought I was doing great, and I was like, oh, I'm fine, but in reality, no, not fine. That's why you should always quick save yourself, because trusting the the Kerbins on the ground to actually remember to plug in the computer is not always great. Yeah, my running statement for it is the Kerbins on the ground never bothered to hook the computer to the actual rocket, and the whole system didn't actually happen. It's about the nicest way I could put it. About the only way I could put it, to avoid the frustration of realizing I spent all that time and basically did nothing. Alrighty. Odds are I probably won't even get all the way there. I might not even get this launched by the time I'm off in 20 minutes, so you might still get to see it on Wednesday, because tomorrow would be a Minecraft stream. I'll see you around. Okay. Got it. have to actually put engines on this. Otherwise, I will mostly just be wasting time. Do that. Even though I doubt I will ever use it. At least if I have it, I won't have to question it. Also not going to attempt to land this. That's gonna be a nice little attempt device, basically. That's fine. That is a decent size rocket core. Okay. That technically has more thrust, but now, yeah, those guys are excessively expensive. Yeah, looking at the time, I'm probably going to be building this, maybe doing a couple test flights, but I do not believe I will be getting this guy into orbit today. However, I can make it silly. Silly is always fun. I'll make sure that is about that. sure that we are tying this down in a couple places. If this has the makings of something that will go bang. Especially if you're not careful. Like, these are touching. I don't like that, but there's not a lot I can do about it. Well, there's not a lot I intend to do about it. Call this min mk1. Min sat 1. First one to go. Here's the trick. That and that. Everything else moves up. Boom. That and that. Everything else moves up. That and that. Everything else moves up. Okay. Rust await's not great, but it exists. Down to the first one. That and that. Everything else up. That and that. Everything else up. That and that. Everything else up. Save. Has way more than enough fuel. Hmm. That's weird. Stage was not working. We test stuff. Save it, launch it. Hmm. Really odd. that one. And activate that one. Odd. Okay. No idea why I wanted to work now, but not before, but we are cruising. We're cruising exceedingly slowly, but we are cruising. Those parachutes are not strong enough to actually stop those. No, at least at this point, I'm moving up in a decent pattern. I'm burning way too much fuel for what I'm doing, but it is what it is. I forgot that by having all these able to gimbal like that, I'm able to pull off these maneuvers that I normally wouldn't. And oof. Okay, thankfully that did not take out the motors I do have. Follow the nav ball. Cut too far down. Let's keep it at 90 because, as you can see, our time till apoapse is going down, and that is never a good sign. Okay. There we go. They're going to drop into the atmosphere. Get rid of that, since we're now high enough up that we shouldn't have any issues. And I realize I don't have a separation. Oh. That's funny, I can technically just undock it. Way too high. Meta maneuver. Circle. Tell it we want to bring a circle. Okay. I really should have put these on a thing before I left, but it is difference. So much more than that. Plenty of communication. This. Huh. Neat. Here. Let me move that. That. This. Select the maneuver node. Drop it to a minimum. Okay. And if we maneuver like this, we will smack right into it. Nice. You want to basically annihilate this bottom stage. I did not know there was just like an auto maneuver creation thing. That does make life very, very interesting. Also, interesting that does Don't worry, owl girl. I will be down in just a moment. I just have to set up this maneuver. We'll save it. Call it NASA move. And then we are going to call it a day, guys. Thank you for watching. As easy. Sorry. As always, take it easy.